morning. Thank you and welcome to the IRTA's Virtual Area 6 Conference. Good morning.
We're ready to go, Mary, whenever you're ready.
Okay, I just couldn't hear anything. Good morning. Thank you and welcome to IRTA's Virtual Area 6 Conference.
Okay, are we ready?
Before we get started, I'd like to remind you to minimize the background noise and other distractions. All participants will remain muted for the duration of today's event. If you have questions, please submit them in the chat feature. And do we have the pledge? Okay. Let's repeat the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And before we get started, remember that you're going to be muted during the program. If you have questions, please use the chat feature. And to get with our program, move that just slightly. I knew I wanted to be a teacher forever. I remember as a small child playing school with my sister and her cat. I was the teacher and they were the students. I'm not sure what the lessons were, nor how much the cat willingly participated, but we played. I recall being asked to help other students in elementary school, which only reinforced my desire to be a teacher and to help others learn. Through 4-H, I was able to help others learn skills needed to complete their projects. I especially helped with sewing and some cooking, but I enjoyed seeing the success of others and felt proud when they were successful. While I have retired from teaching the public school system, my desire to teach or to help others learn continues today. I teach sewing classes in several fabric and quilt stores in my area. There are a couple of major differences between these teaching assignments and my previous one. One, the class size is usually limited to 6 to 10. And second, the students are much nearer my age. However, the thrill of seeing students' success is just as strong as ever. Currently, I serve as membership chair for Madison County 2, my local unit of IRTA, as well as being Area 6 representative. I also am president of Madison County Grow Unit of the Home and Community Extension. And to brag a little bit, I'm the chairperson of their annual Christmas luncheon and auction for the second year. Last year, my first year, the event raised more money than ever in its history. I'd like to thank the IRTA staff for all they do on our behalf. Some of the most important people of our organization are the members across Illinois. Without them and all the little things they do for their unit, attending a meeting, participating in some activity, the State Act and the IRTA would not be as strong as it is. So a big thank you to IRTA members across the state. I'd also like to thank all the officers and all the units of Area 6 for their dedication to their unit and to IRTA. They say it takes a village to raise a child. I think it takes a village to keep IRTA vibrant and strong. Recently, when I met with the regional directors in Area 6, we discovered that not only am I in my first year as Area 6 representative, all three of them are in their first year as regional directors. We're all first timers and learning together. I would also like to encourage all those watching to become more active in their units and to consider becoming more involved at the state level. Everyone can assist with recruitment efforts by talking with their friends and fellow retirees. Area conferences have been held over the last few weeks and hosted by each area representative. All members, regardless of where you live in the state, are welcome to attend all sessions. We have an exciting lineup for speakers for you today. IRTA's president, Mike Schmidt, will update us on the state of the association and provide a foundation's report. The 2024 foundation fundraiser is underway, and I would like to take this opportunity to personally thank every member who has contributed to the IRTA Foundation. Just so you know, the foundation assists retired educators with living expenses. They provide scholarships to aspiring teachers and provide grants to active teachers. These philanthropic endeavors would not be possible without your support. We will also hear from our IRTA PAC Committee Chair, Sharon Teefy. Sharon will talk to us about the candidate endorsement process and the importance of political engagement and purposeful interaction with lawmakers. And the Illinois Department of Aging will discuss important community programs administered by that agency and much more. I hope you enjoy today's programs. Like most associations, IRTA cannot carry out its mission and functions without volunteers to lead our boards and committees. Later in the morning, you will hear from the Leadership Development Committee Chair, Bob Kaplan. Bob will share his insights about the importance of getting involved in leadership and the other opportunities to serve IRTA. Bob will lead a leadership development roundtable discussion with IRTA leadership team who will share their personal stories of involvement with IRTA. As you might remember, changes were approved to the IRTA Constitution last fall at the convention. Now, all IRTA members can become members of many of the state committees, including the Member Benefits Committee, the IRTA Political Action Committee, the Membership Committee, and the Legislative Committee. Each of these committees will be composed of a dedicated chair, the corresponding local unit chair, and any members who are eager to contribute to the success of IRTA. I'd like to give some special recognition to Legislative Chair Dixie Wheeler. She assembled a strong committee due to those changes. Dixie's committee has over 20 actively engaged members. Kudos, Dixie. Equally important to encouraging membership involvement are IRTA's member recruitment efforts. IRTA staff launched our spring membership recruitment campaign in March, and this initiative ran through approximately June 1st. The campaign included submitting Freedom of Information requests to all superintendents across the state to request contact information for all teachers who had announced their plans to retire. Once compiled, this information was provided to the local units. Local unit leaders were asked to speak directly to those teachers who they have a personal relationship with and possibly invite them to attend a meeting or an event. IRTA sent a series of personalized messages that included direct mail, social media outreach, and email messages to ensure that the new retirees are aware of IRTA and the benefits that we offer. This year's spring membership recruitment campaign was a huge success. As a result of the hard work of many, IRTA gained a total of 384 new members. This success would not have been made possible without the coordinated efforts of IRTA volunteer leaders at all levels including the local units. IRTA representatives, regional directors, IRTA members, AMBA and Velocity, and especially the IRTA staff. IRTA President Mike Schmidt will share the details of an important new member outreach initiative that has been launched in the past weeks. Mike is challenging all IRTA members to assist with making personal phone calls to welcome all new members to the IRTA family. If you haven't volunteered to take part in this important initiative, please do so. IRTA staff also launched new educational opportunities and events for members to attend. These events included, but are not limited to, the Spring IRTA Member Outreach Summit and the Monthly Brief. The Monthly Brief is hosted each month and features special guest speakers and discussion of topics important to retired educators. This year's topics have included an update on efforts to repeal the windfall elimination provision and government pension offset, the Illinois property tax exemptions, and an overview of legislative activities of the General Assembly. All of these events have been well attended by IRTA members, and your support of these initiatives is appreciated. I want to thank all of you for attending today's area conference and for being members of the only organization whose sole purpose is to protect the benefits of our retired educators. I hope you have an informative and beneficial conference. Without further delay, I'm happy to welcome our first speaker, IRTA President and Foundation Chair, Mike Schmidt. Mike.
Good morning. I'm Mike Schmidt, and it's a bit amazing for me to realize that I'm just about 1/4 of the way through my 2-year tenure as president of the Illinois Retired Teachers Association. Why? It seems like just last week that we had the IRTA Biennial Convention in Springfield. You know, last October's convention where our delegates, and perhaps you were one of them, elected the state officers for these 2 years. And now, while time marches on, here are you and I taking part in this area conference. And I'm so glad that you are. So far, I'm really enjoying this job, although using the word job is misleading since I don't get paid. I'm a volunteer. Later in today's conference, we're going to explore in some depth volunteerism. But for the moment, I'd like to let you know that over the previous 8 years, I was chair of the state membership committee. And as such, it was great to watch the state membership numbers go from about 36,000 to well over 40,000 today. Now, that increase had less to do with my being committee chair, but rather was largely due to the efforts of the state membership committee members, and especially individual unit membership chairs and committees. And as you probably know, or at least would suspect, that increase also came about because of IRT members such as you. Members reaching out to former colleagues and asking them to join the only state organization that is solely dedicated to protecting our pension and health insurance benefits. Now, today, the reason that I mentioned increasing our membership is that this summer is the perfect time to bring in new members. Over 2,000 of our former colleagues just retired, so now is the perfect time to reach out to them. Now is the perfect time to ask them to join your local IRTA unit. Now is the perfect time to recruit them to join with us in the state IRTA. And as we do so, this is the perfect time to let you know about a new initiative that we are launching. Various members of the State Board of Directors and of the State Membership Committee have agreed to call new IRTA members who joined this year and welcome them to our association. Now, as you might remember from when you joined the IRTA, the Springfield office sends out a new member booklet. That booklet contains a lot of useful information. However, receiving a phone call allows a newly retired colleague to ask questions about that information or well, about anything else concerning the IRTA. It also gives the volunteer making the calls a chance to mention the value of joining a local IRTA unit. Oh, by the way, did you catch that word that I just used? Volunteer? Well, we'll get back to that later in the conference. Switching gears just a bit, I'd like to point out that one of the significant changes to the IRTA Constitution that was voted on by the delegates to last year's convention has to do with the makeup of 3 of the 5 state standing committees. Rather than limiting the number of members a committee has, now any member can join the legislative committee. Now any member can join the member benefits committee. Now any member can join the membership committee, and many, many members have volunteered to do so as the convention delegates had hoped. Guess what the operative word was in that last sentence? Oh yeah, volunteer. Just keep that in mind for later. One of the surprises for me when I voluntarily joined the IRTA was that there is an IRTA Foundation. And one of the great things about the foundation is that it gives out money. And just to remind you about how the foundation does that, there are 3 significant categories for spending the foundation's money. Currently, there are 11 members for whom the foundation provides monetary assistance, something that all of us should be grateful for the chance to be able to do. Secondly, this year we have had 54 foundation scholarship applicants. As you might know, those who are awarded these scholarships are college students going into teaching, and who wouldn't want to help those young people? After all, we need to encourage people to replace us retirees in the classroom and eventually to join us in the IRTA. And lastly, we had an overwhelming response from active teachers who applied for the Excellence in Education grants. I enjoy seeing such enthusiasm from our colleagues in the classroom seeking opportunities for their students to have the tools they need to succeed. And hopefully you know that the money available for those 3 foundation activities does not come from our members' dues. No, it is all donated. Oh yeah, and speaking of donations to the foundation, I suspect that you realize we are in the midst of the annual foundation fundraising campaign. Yeah? So, if you haven't already donated, it's not too late. If you still have the letter sent to you by the foundation that had the IRTA notepad enclosed, why, just put your donation in the envelope and send it in. Or you can go to our website at irtaonline.org. Just click on the foundation button at the top of the homepage, then scroll down to and click on the line titled Donations and Memorials. And then when that page appears, just click on the yellow Donate button, take out your credit card, and use it. All of the beneficiaries of the foundation, past and present, are surely grateful. There is much more important information that others will be sharing with you today, so I'd like to leave you with this thought. As your unit plans out its programs over the next year and a half, as the association president, I am always available to join in as a part of or as the unit's program. Well, that is if my wife and I are not on a cruise. But anyway, just let the Springfield office know the details so I'll know when and where to volunteer my time to your unit. Now, I'd like to introduce our next speakers, IRTA's contract lobbyist, Andrew Bo-Davis, and our new IRTA Executive Director, Jessica Hazelton. They have a legislative update for us. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for the Area 6 virtual conference. Today does mark our 6th and final conference of the summer, and we do hope that everyone is enjoying the content that is being provided for you. I am the IRTA Executive Director, Jessica Hazelton, and I am joined by our contract lobbyist, Andrew Bodavis. Good morning, Andrew.
Morning, Jessica.
Today, we will be providing you all with a legislative update. And the Illinois General Assembly adjourned session in the spring session in May of the spring. And prior to the adjournment, lawmakers did approve many important pieces of legislation. Particularly of importance to us is the 2025 budget and also the budget implementation bill. The budget implementation bill is also referred to as the BIMP, and that legislation provides numerous statutory changes that are required in order to implement the budget. The budget implementation bill is a very large piece of legislation that encompasses various topics. And this year, that bill included some very important items that are particularly of importance to us, including some trip trail benefit enhancements and some other items. Andrew is our very talented eyes and ears on the ground at the Capitol, so I will let Andrew provide us with some of the more specific details of the legislation that was approved this summer.
Yeah, thank you, Jessica. Yeah, love to talk about this. For those of you who have attended area conferences in the past and heard me speak and do this annually, a lot of times I come in and give bad news, but this year's not one of those years. Generally things.
And thank you for that, since this is my first year.
Right. Maybe you were the change.
Maybe.
Well, so let's talk about the budget. We set an all-new-time record this year in the single largest appropriation in the history of the state of Illinois with the TRS appropriation amount. We beat the record that we set last year, which beat the record it set the year before. So we had $6,203,622,000 and some change. That is the full certified amount. So that is what Retired Teachers Association was advocating for. And I will say generally, there wasn't much pushback this year. Everybody seemed to agree and it went well. That's $6.2 billion of an overall about almost $10.5 billion in pension spending overall. So we represent about 60% of the downstate teachers represent about 60%. And just as a point of comparison, Chicago teachers got about $350 million this year. So it is a big number. It's a big number. There's no other way to put that. In addition to that pension funding, we requested and the Teachers Retirement System Board certified an amount of $113,815,000, almost $816,000, and that was fully made as well. So again, full appropriations at the certified amount, met the retired teachers' request. These numbers mean that these systems will continue to operate and be better funded at the end of the year than they were at the beginning of the year, and will continue to move towards the goal. Talking about funding goals, that actually brings up an interesting subject matter. This governor's a little different than maybe some other governors in the past. Most of the other governors for the last couple of decades have been like, how can we put less money in the pensions? This governor actually has asked the opposite question. How can we put more in? So during COVID and all of the everything that went along with that, the federal government was giving states extra money. This was not long-term money. It was one-time money. Governor actually took some of that money, about $500 million of that money, and put it towards pensions. This was extra money. It didn't count towards the contribution. It wasn't part of the plan. It was just extra money. That money immediately got invested. It's continuing to earn, I mean, depending on the period of time, we'll say 7%. That's the estimated long-term goal of TRS. Actually a little bit better than that because markets have been a little stronger. But so that was great. That did not continue this year. So we had 2 years of that, but that didn't continue this year because the source of that money, that federal dollar, went away. So It was great, not life-changing, didn't take us from 45% funded to 95% funded, but significant and meaningful improvement in funding status that was unanticipated. So that was good.
Why do you think why do you think that Governor Pritzker approaches pension funding a little bit differently than we've seen in previous administrations?
So there's probably a couple of answers to that. The short answer is he's a little bit different. His background is a little different. He's not coming from a government background. He's coming more from a business background. He probably understands finance and cost of debt and cost of capital in ways that I frankly don't, just because of who he is and his life experience. So I think that's some of it. I think there was so much room for improvement. The funny thing is people keep acting like Pritzker's like really like doing revolutionary crazy things. It's like, no, he's doing the right thing. You know, it's the good thing, it's the right thing, but like this isn't crazy stuff, right? Like if you've got additional money coming in a year, paying down some of your debts with that, that's something we might all experience, right? If we got a little extra cash from something, you know, we sold a used car and we got $1,000 for it. A lot of us might say, hey, let's use that $1,000 and pay off some debt, right? That's something we can all relate to. I'm not sure that he's so amazing. I mean, look, I like what he's doing for pensions, but it's not that what he's doing is so different. It's that what everybody else was doing was so bad. He's just kind of coming in and doing the right thing, the smart thing. It's not normal for us, but in a global perspective, maybe the normal thing. And so it's just so refreshing to see somebody pay down debts, make sure there's a little in the savings account, you know, make sure that as it comes in, you know, as it's got to go out, it's coming in, just the common sense stuff, probably how most of us at least want to live our lives. The other thing that he did, and this was really novel, as a matter of fact, nobody's talked about this since 1994. So in 1995, they approved a funding law. We're pretty used to that all by now. Many of our members were actively teaching at that point. New funding law became effective in 1995, and that put a 90% goal on paying off the debt. So it said, we're going to pay off 90% of the debt. Again, talking about our lives, most of us didn't go into the bank and say, what's my plan to pay off 90% of my home loan, or 90%, I want to own 90% of my car. Most of us, and it may take you a little less time and it may take me a little longer. Maybe you have a 15-year mortgage, maybe I have a 30, you know, that stuff differs. But with all of us, I think the thing that is always the case is we always want to pay off 100% of that debt at some point in the future, and at least as a goal. He's the first governor and really the first major politician in Illinois to talk about paying off 100% of the debt. So right now, that 95 funding plan says we're going to get to 90% in 2045. And that's been the case again for a long time. We're halfway through that funding plan. He didn't want to change that funding plan. As a matter of fact, he said, you know, we need to set that as a minimum. We can't do anything that's worse than what we're already targeting to do. But I want to take it to the next step. I want to modernize that. I want to improve that. And so he came up and said, I want a goal of 100% in 2048. He uses a couple different tools to get there. The most noticeable one is that in 2030, he starts dedicating some revenue that gets freed up because some bond payments, some debt that the state borrowed under Blagojevich to pay their operational costs, that goes away. And so as that goes away, he wants to redirect some of that money. He's earmarking that money for pensions. That gets us a little bit better funded. As a matter of fact, when I do the math, I get to 90% a little bit before 2045. So even a little better there. And then you get to the 100% 2048. So he proposed that.
Yeah, so a question about that. So that was proposed in the budget address, correct? That was given in February. So we reported about that, included that information in our legislative updates, and I talked about it at some of the local unit meetings that I attended. And one question that I got was, you know, that's great that Governor Pritzker is saying, let's go to 100% funding by 2048. But the question was, that's not really something that he can promise, is it? So can you speak to what does this really mean in the long term, especially in the event that he may not be our governor forever?
Yeah, so this is an interesting legal conversation, interesting legal question. Can the governor tie the hands of future governor or the future General Assembly? And the answer is no, not legally. But that also doesn't mean this is nonsense either. So the past governor in 1995 couldn't tie the hands of future general assemblies, and at that time it was Ryan. No, Edgar. I'm sorry, Edgar. Oh, gosh, Edgar couldn't tie the hands with the 1995 funding plan. Having said that, we've followed it more or less every year since 1995. Again, except 2 years under Blagojevich. So, I think going out passing a law, especially when it's a financial promise, and especially when that law and that promise are interwoven into the promise that you're making to debt holders. State of Illinois issues a lot of debt. We build roads, we refurbish the Capitol, we do all kinds of things, right? As part of issuing that debt, we make certain guarantees to the people who are giving us the money. Again, no different than if I go down to get a bank loan for a house, I'm going to show them I have a job, I'm going to show them I have a credit score, all of those things. If I lie during that process, that's fraud, that's a problem. The state of Illinois is the same way. It's not necessarily criminal fraud at that point, but the enforcers of that are the rating agencies, sometimes referred to as the bond houses, Standard & Poor's, Fitch, folks like that. What they do is they update your schedule based on your income, based on your expenses, and based on your honesty. How, are you lying to bondholders? They can essentially cut off your ability to borrow money in the future if they get your bond rating bad enough. We got real close to this under the previous governor, right? When we didn't have a budget for a couple of years. So that there is an enforcement arm there that keeps them honest. And there's also the political pressure. House of Representative members have to get elected every 2 years. Senators have to get elected every 4. Governors have to get elected every 4. Going back on your word on a financial matter is still viewed as pretty not okay. So what all this is, to answer, long way of answering the question, it's not a guarantee like the pension guarantee. It's not that strong of a guarantee, but it's still a pretty good guarantee if they were able to pass this. And it makes me feel good and sleep better at night. You can cash a check on it. It's not a pension. It's not an absolute constitutional guarantee. They don't have to sell the Capitol building to meet it like they might under the Constitution, but it's still very strong enforcement of it going.
Thank you for that clarification.
So the budget was all good. We talked a little bit about that funding plan. I'm going to say right now, just to wrap this up, and I want to talk about it in a minute, because I think it better ties into another subject matter that I don't want to get too far out on. But I do want to say that did not pass. So that funding change didn't yet pass. And again, we're going to talk about, I would like to talk about in a minute about how that might pass, how we might see it, but it didn't pass yet in May. So still question mark on that one. As part of the budget, so the yin to the budget's yang is the budget implementation bill, which you mentioned. And I'm so excited because, I'm kind of a policy nerd, and I never get to talk about BIMP. Nobody ever cares about BIMP. It is always the driest. There's always 2,000 pages of if and only if this happens, then they can spend money on paper. And it's like, okay, great. This is, it's literally the most boring 1,000 pages you'll ever read. Sorry to any, Michener fans out there. But it wasn't this year. And there was some more substantive things in there. And in the spirit of boring BIMP, I'll start with the most boring, and it's still pretty cool. The most boring was the comptroller state of Illinois has been consistently committed to trying to get pensions in better shape. I mean, that has been since she initially ran, and every minute since then, that's been something that she's tried to do. The comptroller's got sometimes what some people might call a boring job, right? She pays the bills. Not the most exciting, but she doesn't, it's an important job. And so what she wants to do, so the state of Illinois, because they don't get their money like a teacher gets their money, right? A teacher gets every 2 weeks or at the end of the month or whatever, they get the amount that they're expecting, and it's pretty easy to budget for. Comptroller's not like that. The comptroller might get a bunch of money in November, or September, and then not get money in October or November. She might get a bunch of money in, in February and then not get any, because receipts don't come in nice and easy. The property tax money comes in twice a year. Corporate taxes come in, income tax. I mean, there's a different spread on how that works. So, what she wants to do, instead of keeping that money sitting in her bank account where it doesn't earn interest, she wants to be able to pre-fund the pensions, let it sit in their bank account where it does earn interest, again, 7.25% or whatever the case may be at that particular time, and let the pension funds keep that little extra money. So I'll just break this down really simply. So let's say she owed $1,000 for each month. She owes a lot more than that, but simple math, $1,000 in every month. She could pay $3,000 in September, and then she wouldn't have to transfer the money in October and November. She'd prepay that. TRS would invest that $3,000, and they would get an extra $21 from investing that money early. And so they get to keep the $21. That doesn't count towards what the state owes them. That is theirs, free and clear. It's their money. And then the comptroller's not out anything. It didn't cost the state any additional money. She owed $3,000. She paid $3,000. But it just generates a little bit of money. Now, I got to be honest. I said it's boring because this is, again, not going to take us from 45 to 80% funded, right? This is not the magic wand solution. It's not the magic bean solution. But it's smart, right? I mean, right now you could argue we're leaving $21 in that scenario. It's a lot more than $21, but we're leaving $21 on the table. Might as well capture that. So this is a little change. What it's going to do is it's just going to get us again to that 90% and then hopefully that 100%, a little bit faster. It's going to even out those state contributions a little bit, and it's going to make the pension cost and the pension debt a little less of the burden on future taxpayers. And there is zero downside. So great.
And it is a great idea. And the purpose, like this change was necessary because prior to this change, the comptroller did not have the statutory authority to make that decision, to make those prepayments during times that she could. So that's why, sometimes I think, Illinois has a lot of laws, but when you think about the little things that require permission to implement good ideas, this would be an example of one of those.
Right. And it's the old logic, right? You get to $1 billion, $10 at a time, right? I mean, so that was a good change. The other change, there was a bunch of legislation going on. There's a lot of new legislators this year, and some of the legislators that started during the pandemic when they weren't coming down to Springfield all the time. And so we've got a big freshman class and a smaller senior class this year. And so some stuff kind of was falling through the cracks, not intentional, just a lot of new people, right? And one of those things was every 3 years, we extend the expiration date on the return to work in subject shortage areas. So ourselves and the school districts and unions, everything worked to extend that every 3 years. There was a bill this year. It was moving along. Got sidetracked because some other stuff came up. And so that bill ended up getting put in the BIMP bill. And that was a good thing. It needed to happen, and it did happen, and that was positive. So what this is, so again, every 3 years, because there's two, this always gets confusing, right? Because there's two different return to work. There's the extension from 100 days to 120 days. So we passed that last year. So we've got a couple of years left on that. And it's always a 3-year extension. This is the full, you can come back for the whole year if the subject has been declared a subject shortage area in that school district for that time period. It's a little complicated. We don't see them all the time. A lot of math and science, some language, rural districts, but now during recruitment retention crisis that we're in, we're seeing it more and more. That got extended to allow people to return to work full-time while they're getting their annuity, so they don't sacrifice their annuity to do that. And that was getting ready to expire, and would have expired actually, I think July 15th. So got that extended. Now it's not going to expire, and that's going to continue to go on. Not huge utilization on that, again, because it's tough for a school district to prove that it's a subject shortage area, but where it is important, it's very important. That brings us to, I think, what was probably the most exciting change this year. And we talk a lot about laws sometime, and this one I want to make it extra special that I emphasize this point. A lot of times laws are the start of something, right? So they change the law, but that doesn't mean that they pass a law on Friday and then Monday everything's running right along. This is especially true here. And I want to make a point of it because I don't want anybody to make changes or do anything right now. But the first step in a multi-phase process to getting dental and vision included in the trip and trail benefits has started. So in this law, there was a law that allowed CMS to offer dental and vision programs. So they currently offer it for community colleges and state employees that are retired. This now brings trip and trail program into offering that eventually. And actually, Jessica, you've been closer to this. You've been in a bunch of meetings with CMS and you know more about this than I do. So
Yeah, so as you said, this statutory authority was included in the Bent bill. And ever since the end of session, IRTA, we've been working very closely with the Department of Central Management Services to discuss the details of the forthcoming implementation of the dental vision benefits for retired teachers. We've been in a few meetings, and we actually have another meeting scheduled on Friday. And as of today, CMS's goal is to have this program up and running and ready for implementation for trail members as part of the upcoming October 2024 open enrollment period, so that those benefits can start on January 1st of 2025. The time frame right now is a little different for the trip members, and CMS is estimating that they will be able to roll it out for those individuals during the May 2025 open enrollment period for benefits starting July 1st of 2025. I'm very cautious to say that as of today, that is the Department of Central Management Services plan. That can always change, and that is why we are making it a priority to work closely with CMS staff to stay on top of their plans and their realistic abilities to get this program rolled out for our members. In addition to working with CMS, we're also working closely with our partners at AMBA, because our number one priority all the time is to make sure that IRTA members have benefits that are the same as or better than what they have available today. So we're working closely with both partners to review the details of what we foresee will be available the earliest will be beginning January 1st. So it's important for us to stress to our members that if you do have the vision and dental plan through your IRTA membership that's available through AMBA, we encourage you to not make any changes today, particularly if you have any appointments that are coming up between now and the end of the year. We assure you that as details are rolled out, we will provide that information to our members, and we will provide the very detailed up-to-the-minute guidance on when the best time would be to make some decisions on your future benefits.
it sounds like you're suggesting maybe have the skepticism my wife does when I tell her that I'm going to get all the laundry done by noon on Friday.
Yes, we are very happy with this change, but we're also very cautious about moving full steam ahead and jumping into making any decisions about changes.
Fair enough. Well, I talked a little bit about the governor's budget, and I want to come back to that real quick. So he wants to do this. So the governor wants to get to 100%. Again, we're very happy. The other problem that's been out there, and IRTA has been engaged in this in some way, shape, or form, this conversation since 2011, is the lack of retirement security for Tier 2 members. So for anybody that was on, that was doing these last year, you remember half of the area conferences, and I can't remember if 6 was one of them, but I'm pretty sure it was. I was giving the update from the committee room in the House, because we were testifying on the problems associated with Tier 2 and how that was denying retirement security to future teachers and complicating the recruitment and retention problem. So this summer actually timed out a little better. I don't have to do this from the committee room, which is nice. But we are still testifying. We are still working with a bunch of other folks, labor unions, IEA, IFT, and this is not just teachers, but others, AFSCME and firefighters, police, et cetera, and so on. But we're all working together to improve the tier 2 benefits. Right now, the benefits probably violate federal law, certainly violate tax law. They don't provide retirement security. They're too indecent. They're too low. The benefits for tier 2 is too low. So we're part of a big group working together to improve the quality of those two benefits. This has been a long and drawn out process. We're getting closer. I think this isn't a promise, but it's a hope. It's maybe laundry by Friday done, but I don't think so. That we're going to get this into a package, get broad agreement. I think it'll have Democrats, Republicans both supporting it in the House. And my hope is to get that passed either in November veto session, but veto session ends in the first week of January. By then, I'll say by that first week of session in January, I feel pretty confident that we're going to get meaningful change to tier 2.
And what
it makes sense.
specific, can I
Oh, go
ask what specific changes you think
Yeah.
that we'll see?
So I think some of them are more. I'm more like 100%. We're done on this one, and more like 40% on some of this. But I think the first most important thing is maximum pensionable salary will get increased to Social Security wage. Tier 1 had a maximum pensionable salary. It's pretty high. It's like $250,000. That got dropped to really low under tier 2, and I think that's going to go to sort of more in the middle Social Security wage basis. Seems like a middle ground number. I think it's currently at about 170,000. Current tier 2, it's like 120,000. So that will get increased. I think there's broad agreement that needs to happen. That's that federal issue we were talking about too. Second thing that I feel pretty confident will happen is something on COLA. So tier 1 folks get 3% compounded. Tier 1 folks get the lesser of 3% simple or half of CPI simple. Half of CPI historically is about 1.2%. Recent high inflation has brought that up. It's a little closer to 1.7% now. I think, again, it's going to be a split the baby kind of approach. And I think we'll probably see something like maybe 3% simple or actual CPI, something to that effect, something that more closely approximates 3%, give or take. Probably not 3% compounded. Again, I don't want to suggest that tier 2 is going away and we're going back to tier 1. That would be misleading, but I think we're going to inch closer. So I think that
What
one
about retirement age?
Yeah, so that's the big question. So retirement age it's an expensive thing to do. I just was in a meeting yesterday about this and I ran through the math. I'll do it super fast, but let's say you got a teacher whose salary is $100,000 a year, average, and she's going to get 75% of that. If she leaves 5 years earlier, that's what, $450,000, 75,000 times 5. So $375,000 plus the interest on that minus her contributions on that ends up being about $500,000. I'm talking about a pretty typical teacher here for current workers, for current tier 2 workers. Maybe a little high, but not maybe a little higher average, but pretty close. So I mean, in that particular case, you're talking about $500,000 a teacher is the cost in the system. That gets tough, right? But at the same token, 67 is really old to work. It's especially old to work when you max out after 34 and a half years. So for a lot of teachers who started in their young to mid 20s, they're maxing out maybe at 60, but they've got to work 7 more years. That's also really tough. So I think balancing that. I don't know exactly where it's going to fall. I think something's going to happen on age, but I'd be surprised if they drop that from 67 back to 60. Again, we're not going to be back at that tier 1 level. Maybe they'll use a graduated tool for like 35 years now, 32 years, you can leave at this age, 30 years, 20 years, something like that. This one seems the farthest from done. And I think it's just because the cost associated.
Do you think that, is it your sense that there's a desire, a wide ranging desire of the Illinois General Assembly members to truly fix the mistakes of tier 2 so that we can avoid in the future, this kicking the can down the road situation that we've been in with tier 2?
Yeah, so I think the General Assembly members really want to fix it. And I do think they want to get it right. I don't, in the past, I was around when they passed 2011. I was down on the floor, or I'm sorry, 2011. I was around in 2011 when they passed tier 2. I was down on the floor. I was talking to members. That was so fast, right? It was just like, oh, do it. I mean, there was not a lot of thought. There wasn't a lot of analysis. The guy that wrote that, his name is Jeff, nice guy. He worked for the House Democrats at the time. He was the drafter of it. And when pension folks get around together and talk, everybody always gives him a hard time for being the drafter of it. And he always retorts, I did the best job I could in 45 minutes, which is probably spot on. So, they don't want to do that again. They want to get this right. They want to coordinate with the federal law. They want to make sure that it's fair, and they want to make sure that it's affordable. And I can appreciate that. One of the nice things about that sort of reasoned approach is we're hearing this from Democrats, but we're also hearing this from Republicans. It's a bipartisan issue. We've got folks down in Southern Illinois that want this. We've got folks up in the counties in the city that want this, from Eddyville to Quincy and, from Caro to Rockford. I mean, you're getting a lot of buy-in from folks that are coming from different places. That's really good. Governor's been really quiet so far, so I think he indicated, again, back in February during that speech that he gave during his budget address, he said, this has got to start with the General Assembly and I'll review what they have to say. So to take him at his word, it seems to be what he wants to do. But I do think, and with that, I talked about these 3 sort of big picture things. I think there'll be a bunch of small things in there. For just as an example, one of the things we've asked for, who knows if we'll get it, but hey, instead of extending these return to works every 3 years, can we just put them in the law so that they've been there for 20 years? So there's all kinds of, there's the little stuff, and then there's the big stuff, and we're there for all of it.
Right. It's everything's on the table.
But one of those things that's on the table, just so I can complete my thought, otherwise I'll wake up in the middle of the night tonight and be mad at me, is that governor's funding changes. And what the chairwoman of pension said, I think it's so smart, I think it's so right. She goes, I want to know what I'm buying before I'm going to figure out how I'm going to pay for it. And I think that's right? You don't talk about the features you want in the car divorced from the cost of the car, or vice versa. You talk about what are you getting and what are you paying. So I think the governor's goal on getting to that 100% funded is still very much alive, still very much part of the conversation, but it's wrapped up into this, the broader conversation. So thank you.
And the opportunities for these items to continue being addressed and get taken care of are the upcoming fall veto session, which will be 2 weeks in November, a total of 6 days. And the other opportunity then would be the lame duck session. Is that right? In January?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I sort of see the one as the same as the other, but yeah. Colloquially, we would call that lame duck in January because they're both coming after the election. They're arguably all lame duck.
Right.
But timing wise, sometimes that can be different. But this year, it's kind of, we don't have a veto, we only have a lame duck, or we don't have a lame duck, we only have a veto. But yeah, so I think that's the opportunity for it. I think there are a lot of legislators. Sometimes in lame duck, just real quick, this is an aside. Sometimes in lame duck, it's a good time to get people who don't want to vote for something because they don't have to get reelected again. They're already out the door. We think of that in the context of lame duck. The opposite is, I think, true here. There's a lot of legislators who have been working on this project for 6-7 years, and they don't want to leave without getting it fixed. So maybe they're retiring, maybe they're moving on to something else in their life, and they want this done before they go. So it's almost the opposite of how we normally think about lame duck.
That's an interesting point. I hadn't thought about it like that, but you're right. This has been a very long conversation, and I can see and understand that there's going to be some legislators that want to be able to leave and say, we took care of our teachers.
Yeah, I talked to a legislator 2 days ago, and we were talking about this, and he said, well, he goes, I'm not going to be here too much longer. And he goes, I promised my mother-in-law we were going to get this resolved for her. His mother-in-law's a teacher. So, you know, I mean, there is some of that, right? You know?
Right. That would make, I'm sure the holidays, a more pleasant experience. So we covered a little bit of what you expect to be taken care of interest to us during the veto and lame duck, which is tier 2 changes and possibly the funding modification. Is there anything else on the radar that that we should be aware of or be thinking about as we head towards the fall months?
I think I'm going to be thinking about what every legislator in Illinois is going to be thinking about, which I think is what Sharon Teefee is going to be talking about.
Yeah.
I think that's going to predominate our headspace until we get into turkey and cranberry sauce.
Right. Well, I think that we covered everything for the legislative update, and we have about 2 minutes left. So I will just throw it out there and see if we have any questions from the audience. If you do have a question, feel free to throw it up in the chat. And while we're waiting on some questions to come in, I just wanted to remind the members of Area 6 that earlier this summer, you may have been aware of the contract negotiations between Aetna and HS Medical Group. And by now, hopefully you've heard that those contract negotiations were successful and that there was no disruption of benefits for any of the members on Aetna who are patients of the HS Medical Group. So we don't have any questions. So with that, we will turn it over to the IRTA Political Action Committee Chair, Sharon Teefee, who has some updates for us on the Political Action Committee and the 2024 candidate endorsement process. So thank you again for attending the Area 6 conference, and we hope that you enjoyed our presentation. Thank you.
Thanks.
I'm Sharon Teefee, your IRTA PAC Committee Chairperson. I am grateful for the opportunity to serve as your IRTA PAC Chairperson. I remain committed to working with committee volunteer members, IRTA leadership, and staff to ensure that the importance of IRTA PAC remains top of mind as an important IRTA member benefit. To continue to be successful, we need your help. Our goal is simple, but powerful: to make a lasting impact on retirement policies and the benefits of retired teachers through community engagement, advocacy, and fundraising efforts. The IRTA PAC exists to elect, educate, and build rapport with legislators who understand the importance of preserving pensions and health care benefits, and elect those who make pension and health care funding a priority in our state's fiscal policies. The decisions made by our elected officials directly impact the policies and benefits we each receive. By actively participating in the political process and supporting initiatives such as IRTA PAC, we help shape legislation that affects our well-being and the future IRTA members' well-being. IRTA PAC kicked off our major political engagement initiative of the year, the 2024 General Election Candidate Endorsement Process. The IRTA PAC Committee created a candidate questionnaire that was sent to every single candidate, Republican, Democrat, and third-party candidate who will be on the November 5th, 2024 general election ballot. A returned questionnaire is an IRTA requirement for endorsement consideration. Our goal is to put every candidate on record stating their support for protecting our pensions and our health care. Throughout the summer months, we will meticulously examine the answers provided on the return questionnaires. We will solicit feedback from our local units, consider voting records, and we will seek advice from our IRTA's committed government affairs team. The IRTA PAC Committee's recommended endorsements will center exclusively on candidates who stand with us on our two primary concerns: pensions, and health care. We will not consider their positions on other issues such as public education, environmental issues, or taxes. The IRTA PAC Committee will approve or deny recommendations by means of majority vote. The IRTA PAC Committee Chair will submit for review all recommendations for endorsement to the IRTA PAC Board of Directors. The IRTA PAC Board of Directors will make the final recommendations. Once endorsed, a candidate will be notified via congratulatory letter and will receive the IRTA logo for use on marketing materials, a press release, and in some cases, a financial contribution. The second phase of the IRTA PAC Committee's political engagement is purposeful: interaction with lawmakers. I encourage each of you to proactively initiate and arrange meetings with legislators when they're home in their district offices. This is particularly important after the general election is concluded and we shift our focus to establishing relationships with newly elected members of the Illinois General Assembly. It is vital that we personally convey to them the significance of our pledged pensions and affordable health care in shaping our lives and our retirements. The time has come to return to our roots and educate for the future, a future that is ours. Our state office staff stands with you with the latest information on fundraising events and social gatherings in your area. It is paramount to our continued legislative success that the IRTA maintain a strong political action committee. To that end, we need to work together and educate our fellow retirees on the vital role IRTA PAC plays in advocating for the rights and benefits of retired educators. The IRTA PAC is funded by voluntary contributions from IRTA members, just like you and me. By contributing to the IRTA PAC, you are playing a vital role in raising political awareness among IRTA members and enhancing our engagement with elected officials. Financially, we have observed a concerning trend. The IRTA PAC fund stands at $170,300. This is a noticeable decline in revenue over previous years. This dip coincides with the decline in membership of the $1 per month club. To truly affect change, we need to recommit to our fundraising efforts. To combat this trend, the IRTA PAC Committee will initiate ongoing outreach to promote the $1 per month deduction for IRTA PAC and will market this program throughout the year. By reaching out to local units and members through personalized correspondence, we will hopefully encourage more of you to join the Dollar Club or to make a contribution. To that end, if you think you are a member of the $1 per month club, now is a great time to confirm your participation. IRTA members can contact the IRTA office and staff will be able to confirm your participation. If you aren't currently signed up, staff can walk you through the simple process or mail you a deduction form. You can also sign up by visiting the website shown on your screen. All members who sign up for the $1 per month club will receive an IRTA PAC lapel pin. I'd like to share my personal story of checking in to confirm my participation in the $1 per month club. As a lifelong advocate of public education, I knew as I grew closer to retirement that I wanted to join IRTA for their unwavering advocacy on behalf of my pension and my health care benefits. I took advantage of the IRTA pipeline membership by signing up in advance of my retirement. I also filled out the IRTA PAC donation form. After retirement, I knew my TRS statement reflected my monthly IRTA dues deduction, but it never occurred to me that my $1 a month club was not included. A glitch had occurred. The good news? It was easily remedied by filling out a new PAC donation form, and IRTA staff confirmed my enrollment with TRS. Now, I can proudly say that I see my monthly TRS statement reflect my IRTA dues deduction and my $1 per month IRTA PAC donation. Now I proudly say that I see my monthly TRS statement reflect my IRTA dues deduction on one line and my $1 per month IRTA donation on another line. The morals of the story: never assume, things happen, there's an easy fix, lesson learned, and now shared. Contributing to IRTA PAC is simple, and every contribution makes a difference in advancing the protections of our pension and healthcare benefits. For this reason, I ask you, I urge you to join the 5,000 plus members who already contribute to the IRTA PAC $1 a month club. Through our financial support of IRTA PAC, we ensure that IRTA has the resources to continue fighting for the benefits we earned and we deserve. By working together and speaking with one collective voice, the 40,000 plus members of the IRTA will continue to maintain our presence as a powerful advocate on behalf of the Illinois retired educator community. Let's continue to do what we do best, educate others through effective advocacy. In closing, our united efforts and unwavering dedication will shape a brighter future for retirees. We must continue our diligent efforts by attending fundraising events, contributing to the monthly dollar deduction, and spreading our message among local units. By working together, we will safeguard our pensions and our health care benefits. Thank you for your continued support and dedication to the IRTA Political Action Committee. Have a great summer. At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce our next speakers, TRS annuitants Larry Pfeiffer and Doug Strand, who will provide you with an important TRS update. Larry, Doug?
Jeez.
I know.
Larry.
Hey. Sorry, I'm sorry.
Good to see you. What happened?
Oh, local meeting got tied up. I know. You're waiting on. Do we still got time to practice it?
We got time to practice.
You sure?
This would be great because Jessica wants us to kind of get it somewhat prepared.
All right, let me catch my breath. How you been?
Good. Long time from Rock Island County, couple-hour trip, but got here a little early, so I knew you were going to be just a hair late.
Yeah. Good meeting. Good local. Look what I brought. Brought the props we've been talking about. Okay?
Let's do it.
You still want to do the 4 things we talked about?
Sure.
Timeline.
Timeline, no rope.
Oh, I gotta use the rope. Hey, I'm an old ass.
Okay,
Let
use
me
the
try
rope.
it. They cut it out.
We
if they
can
don't
try.
like it.
We can try.
Timeline. Then we're going to talk about what the board itself,
The
their players.
15-member
the
board.
15-member Okay.
Who's what? One of us will do that.
Investments and what we're doing.
Yeah, fixed income, private
Yeah,
equity,
we'll do
all
those.
that stuff.
You're good at that. And then let's finish up with diversity, equity, inclusion, and those kind of things.
We can do. You
They
can.
like us talking about that.
You're,
Okay.
you're good at that.
All right.
Okay,
Let me go to
let's
the
see what we
props.
got. Sure.
Let me go to the props. My grandson helped me.
Your grandson?
Yeah,
Oh, great.
you'll
That's
see some of
right.
these
He's
things.
what? How old is he?
Three.
Wow.
He's a real visual learner. So
Okay.
you've heard about my rock, haven't you?
The Rock, just like what TRS is.
Yeah. You know how it got here?
Where'd it come from?
The glacier brought it. I'm not kidding you.
The glacier?
I found this in my backyard. This rock isn't native. It came somewhere probably around you, northern Illinois.
Northern Illinois.
About 100,000 years ago, it dropped it down. So I thought, this is our rock.
This is the Rock.
This is going to hold what you don't like, the string, but we're going to do it anyway, guys.
Hold the string. Okay. Okay. You want me? What do you want me to
Do
do?
me a favor, kind of wrap that around it, set it down.
All right.
And this is going to represent the year that TRS was
Started.
legislated.
Yes.
Started. Put it down there.
Okay.
All right. Here's what you don't like. I know, man.
I know.
TRS. When it was started, actually TRS started the same time it had to,
In the year
1939.
1939.
And guess what? In 1939, I got a couple stickers here. Yeah, let's put them out here, okay? 1939 TRS, put that on the rock, would you please?
Put that on the Rock. Okay.
4% contribution, you know what it is today?
Well, yeah, 9%.
Exactly. All right, you're liking the
I
timeline.
like it. Okay.
1994, remember that?
1994, 50-year
Pension ramp.
pension ramp.
Put that
Yeah.
down there. Sometimes called the Edgar pension ramp.
Edgar. Yes, I
So you know
remember.
what?
What?
We're 30 years into a 50-year ramp?
Yes.
All right. 1998, remember the 2.2 contributions?
I did that.
I
When
did
I was
too.
working, we were, yeah,
Me
2.2.
too. All right.
Oh, yes, 2010.
Why don't you,
Tier 2 started
tier 2 starting?
January 1st, 2011.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's another milestone, dude.
Very important.
What is it?
2015.
ILC, Illinois Supreme Court did a ruling, said pensions may not be,
Diminished nor impaired.
right,
It was what? Unanimous.
yeah,
Because the state was going to ask us to take either our 3% or our health care, and we already had that. Why take it away?
It was an important point.
Yes, very
I think
important.
you're liking my timeline. Be honest,
I like the timeline.
this is today,
Today,
where we're at. And then, oh yeah, watch your coffee.
Sorry.
And the nice thing about the pension system, it slides with it. It can't go backwards, right?
correct,
TRS
correct.
is here today. I got 2 more in the future.
The foundation,
Want
yes.
to think that far out? 2045?
Oh, I
I'll
heard
put it
about
over
that.
here.
I
I'll put
heard
it over
about
here.
that, yeah, with down here, 2045.
So we got to
The-
be 90% funded in 2045.
Is that just TRS or all 5 public pensions? TRS.
Well, let's just speak to TRS,
Let's
okay?
stick with TRS.
Also, where are we at today? What's our funding level?
44%?
And here's what I'm going to do. Let's use this as a graph and go like 44% funding off that line. 90% would what be over here?
Whoa,
We got a ways to go. don't we?
ways to go. Long way to go.
I got one more. I'll put that out in a minute, okay?
Okay,
I think of this line, you're over on the active side,
yes?
right?
Yep.
Because you're spending your money, you're putting it into
I'm an
TRS,
active retiree,
you're putting money in.
putting money in,
Putting money in on
Nine.
that side of the equation.
9%.
I'm on this side of the equation as an annuitant. I'm taking money out.
Whoa. I am an annuitant, but yes, I'm acting as an active teacher, of which there
standing.
are 169,000. And
About 100 and what on this?
31 retirees like us.
Right, over
And in
here,
the middle, there's some inactive people.
look here. My grandson had a great idea.
Oh my gosh.
These can be our inactives. They're setting this one out, okay?
They're sitting that out.
But yet they have put money in the system.
They have put money in the system,
Right,
147,000 some.
yeah. Where are the 4 sources that money comes into the system? Teachers?
Teachers,
Yep.
state,
State?
schools.
Schools? What's our job?
Oh yeah, TRS. We have to take the
Invest.
money that we have gotten from all of the active and all the active teachers and make sure we
All the
make money.
If we just left the money on the table and drug it this direction, what's going to happen?
Inflation, it would lose value.
Yeah.
As an economics teacher,
Yeah.
you would lose value.
So and they always talk about buckets, and I'm just an old country boy, so I brought buckets.
Okay, which there are many, but they all go in.
I brought buckets.
You brought buckets of the
Different
kid.
shapes and sizes.
All right.
And you know, when they talk about risk, they're always saying, hey, you want good returns, but yet I thought about this. That's pretty risky, isn't it?
If it's on the side like that, yes.
Especially since we have to
Balance,
and get up a rate of return of 7%.
we okayed that.
We did.
We make sure our assumed rate of return is, the risk is around 7%.
Which is one of our jobs
Which
as a
sometimes-
trustee.
Sometimes more, sometimes less. And
Go.
TRS, from all our meetings, when the market goes way up, we may not get near the top, but on the way down,
Our buckets are set up for
we
that.
are set up for that so that we don't lose as much as everybody else.
It's kind of like this.
It
right?
is a little bit,
Where
yes,
some of them are down here losing, others are
winning.
winning.
So we've always been, over 20, 30 years, we've been getting around,
9%? That direction.
Yes.
Looking back in time, 9%.
yes, which has not been bad,
Not been bad, but
which makes us
it's harder
It is.
and harder
We
and
need-
harder
harder and harder
to hold
to,
it up here.
yes, it is.
We can invest our way out of this.
No,
Correct.
no.
Okay, can we set the table down for a minute?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Buckets, equities, right? Big amount, public and private
Public,
equities.
private equities,
We got some fixed income.
fixed income,
We've got real assets
real assets, real
and diversifying strategies.
diversified strategies,
And
right?
within those, there are dozens and dozens and dozens and
What is
lots.
it, 172 or 100 and some
172, and I'm going to use
money managers
money
across the
managers,
world?
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
To
I
help
know.
us make money.
These are money managers right here. I don't put them in, I put them underneath.
Okay,
Make sense? And now let's talk a little bit around this orbit here.
okay,
I'm standing right here in the middle of the TRF staff orbit. You know, we got our 220 employees and tons of consultants, and they kind of help us pick out the money managers,
the right managers.
the right managers.
They're vested and stress tested.
Yeah. You know something else Illinois does? Well, you know this.
What, go ahead.
There's only 2 ways to put the cards down, right? Face down and face up.
Correct?
Some states say face down, we don't care.
No
Illinois, we want cards up.
transparency.
We want to know women, minority-owned,
All
disability
those,
firms.
yes.
As a matter of fact, Illinois, and let me go over here again. You can stand there.
Okay.
You can be a member of the General Assembly. That's the General Assembly.
I'll be the General
The
Assembly.
governor, the,
Representatives, the
Yeah.
senators,
they're the ones that did all this, right?
they're
Those are
responsible for
Those
all
are
that.
legislative initiatives. They're the ones that said, okay, TRS and other pension systems, put those cards up. We want to know. Our goal is what,
22% or so, but we're at.
29,
Yes,
29% women.
funded, yeah,
Of
Of
women,
our-
minority-owned
of the
disabilities.
big bucket,
Of all the buckets.
all the buckets.
All the buckets. I
Okay.
think we've done pretty good explaining that.
Okay.
You know what we haven't spent a lot of time doing? Why don't you come up to the front here? You and I have been talking as old buddies. We're not talking it as annuitants.
Okay,
Or excuse me, we're not talking as trustees.
as trustees,
We can't.
no,
But when we get together as a board, we got what? 2 annuitants, 2 on this side of the
2
line.
retired people.
Yep, we're over here. And on that side of the line, the actives, we got 5
5 active teachers in Illinois
from the classroom.
from the classroom.
And then the governor appoints
Yeah, the government- 8 political appointees from the governor's
Including the-
office, which is a total of
15? Yeah,
yeah,
7?
15.
We do money. We do money.
15,
So
okay.
that's the makeup of the board. And
Correct.
I really did a deep dive on what we do when we're in this circle.
When we're over here, yes.
We certify the statutory rate as well as the actuarial rate. That's
The extra from, yes,
We certify the insurance.
correct.
We set probably the biggest fight and the only disagreement I've ever had with you over time, and probably still will, is what is going to be our anticipated rate of return.
Our assumed rate of return.
Yes.
Which is at 7. Good.
I think we better spend some time saying we don't come in with a whiteboard and an idea and scratch our head.
We could, yeah.
We hear hours and hours and hours of,
Yes, we spend a lot of hours, and I give you a lot of credit, and the people who are on that board, the time and effort they put into protecting our pensions and benefits.
but getting that rate of return is really important because if we lower it just 0.25%,
Yes.
it costs the state millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of
State
dollars.
would have to kick in more money, yes.
But it's something we got to get right.
We have to get very good, and those people at TRS, as you said, do a very good job of protecting us.
They do. They invest us well.
Okay.
And the last job that we do from this group is kind of determine the buckets.
Yes,
Oh, buckets.
buckets, uh-oh,
I brought this too, because some of the investment, we've got to put a lid on those buckets.
yes, in a certain level.
I did that one time with a group. I said, it's got to be liquid. The money we have coming in
Yes.
has to go out. Some of these investments are great investments with huge returns, but we don't get them till over here.
They're farther out, long-term investments. These have to be liquid, short-term, so that we have enough cash in order for TRS to send us our direct deposits.
Yeah. I think that is about it, Doug. Oh, on the way up, I thought of something.
Okay.
Do you think we can work in, I'm not a part of the defined contribution.
Oh, the DC plan, defined contribution, the SSP 457
Supplemental
plan.
savings.
For active teachers.
Those active teachers can
Yes.
put money, but I brought this because this money won't fit in there. Makes sense?
Good point.
This money goes into our different buckets.
Yes.
What can we tell them about the supplemental savings plan?
I wish we had it years ago when we were younger. And it is an opportunity for those people to put 3% if they're in the program as of January 2021. Or just recently, they have to be in there.
It's an opt-out.
But they can opt out, yeah.
Yeah.
They don't, if they
If
don't have to.
They're automatically enrolled, right?
They would be wise to get into it. And we have, 13, 14 different areas and part
Yeah.
of BlackRock, different categories and all this stuff, large cap, small cap,
Yeah.
money markets. And we have, what was the recent number? Was it so many million?
200 or 20? It starts with a 2.
It is start with a 2. We'll have to check that out.
The reason I don't remember it that much is I just know that TRS money can't go in here and vice
No,
versa.
it's 2 separate accounts.
Don't they even,
They're individual accounts
Okay.
that they direct themselves, that TRS and Voya have put together a plan for them to supplement their
Okay.
TRS. Now,
and
TRS
it
is
falls
good.
on TRS's table?
It does come on our table to
Okay.
discuss, yeah.
And don't we separate out the staff fees and everything else? In other words, TRS,
is.
no money's going into that, okay?
Those active teachers will have to pay a small fee, but smaller than they'll ever have to pay to guarantee future income for them.
Okay,
It's,
thank
it's
you.
a great program that you were there. I was there.
I know, but you explain it better than me, and hopefully
started
we
it.
can work that in our presentation, because I think
That'd be
that's
good.
important.
I think it would be good to let the retired people who
Yeah,
are
we need to.
going to see that presentation tell their friends.
I've only got one other thing.
What else we got?
Lately, the governor has said, let's not worry about 2045. At 90%, why don't we talk about 100% at 2048?
That's what he proposed.
And that's all I know is they're having conversations.
Conversations.
I've been telling teachers kind of watch that space.
Okay.
Watch that space because there's conversations. When we were at the board meeting, we've had 2 presentations on safe harbor and tier 2,
Yes,
one from an attorney and one from actuarials. I just know the conversation's going on.
it's going on in Springfield, and people don't realize that TRS can't change that. Springfield has to change that.
The spot you're standing in, the
My
elected
spot,
officials, the
elected
governors,
officials, yes.
they're the ones that have set up these timelines. They're the ones that have set up these initiatives. We just deal with those
Exactly.
3 things there.
Exactly. I think the rope was okay.
It's going to work, you think?
I think so.
All right, let me catch my breath.
And then we'll get ready.
Yeah, I gotta get my
We'll
tie on and
tell Jess that we're ready to roll.
You think we're going to do okay?
Boy, I hope so. No one's seen this yet, but, I hope so. Hope we can go through it again and do
Do
a
you ever
good
get
job.
nervous on one of these presentations?
Not really.
Oh, man,
Do you really?
Yeah.
No
I
way.
didn't even eat lunch today. I'm serious.
They have lunch upstairs, I believe. You are very good at what you do.
Is that camera on?
What?
I'm Bob Kaplan, and I'm proud to serve as the chair of the newly created Leadership Development Committee. The Leadership Development Committee is responsible for succession planning for the leadership of the association. The committee is also responsible for soliciting candidates for leadership roles and to prepare a slate of candidates for elected IRTA positions, including those joining me today: President Mike Schmidt, Vice President Rainey Kaplan, and Treasurer Donnie Ostrom. This year, the Leadership Development Committee is being driven by the 3 I's: interest, information, and involvement. The committee consists of Gail Wright from Area 1, Ray Kaufman, Area 3, Gene Sowers from Area 4, David Savage from Area 5, and Area 6 by Diane Kunkel. At this time, there is a vacancy for Area 2. So if anybody out there is interested, please let us know at the IRTA office. Right now, our committee is trying to locate members who are interested in volunteering. We need members for us to inform and answer questions about IRTA so we can encourage them to pursue leadership opportunities. Volunteer leaders are the backbone of our advocacy, our initiatives, and our community. If you have considered lending your expertise, your vision, your voice to help shape the future of IRTA, now's the time. We're looking for strategic thinkers, team builders, and inspirational leaders who want to help foster connections, spearhead initiatives, and assist in leading IRTA on a continued path to success and strength on behalf of Illinois' retired educators. IRTA Secretary LaVon Cheney recently stated, "I have volunteered for IRTA and am serving as an officer as I believe that the IRTA is the one and only organization that is working for me and my benefits as a retired teacher. IRTA has also allowed me to become a part of a network of retired teachers that I may never have had the opportunity to meet and learn from." And also, immediate past President Bill Funkhauser had this to say, "Shortly after I retired, I received a call from a gentleman who was the cooperating teacher for my student teaching. And the gentleman who was my 4th, 5th, and 6th grade PE teacher asked me to join the Madison County RTA and the state IRTA, which I did. They also encouraged me to not just be a member, but to get involved in leadership. Less than a year later, we learned that we would lose our health insurance from TRS due to the underfunding. They asked me to join them in going to Springfield to lobby for health insurance, and as a result, the TRIP plan was created. I saw the need to take an active part in the efforts to protect our pensions and our health insurance benefits. I volunteered and became a member of the Legislative Committee. Later, I was asked by the area representative who was planning to run for treasurer if I would consider running for the area representative position. I became the area representative, then later vice president, and finally as president. It has been very rewarding and satisfied serving IRTA members in these positions. One of the things I find most enjoyable is meeting and getting to know dedicated IRTA members from all over the state. I would encourage everyone to get involved, whether it be in your local unit, as a state committee member, or even as a state officer. I want to thank Levon and Bill for sharing their personal stories of pursuing opportunities to lead IRTA into the future. I'm excited to be joined today by the IRTA Vice President and Treasurer who responded yes to the invitation to serve in a leadership capacity for the Illinois Retires Teachers Association. At this time, I would like to ask the IRTA volunteer leaders from the association to share with the audience what is their why for volunteering their time to the IRTA. At this time, I think I'm going to start here with Donnie Ostrom. Donnie, what is your why for why you started to get active in the association?
I first got involved in our local unit, which is Clinton County Retired Teachers, and then I saw the need for people to be involved at all levels. They passed Tier 2, and I looked at what teachers were going to receive from that Tier 2 level passage, and it just seemed it was time to make sure that we protected our pension and benefits. I got a call from a fellow by the name of Bob Pinkerton, who was president of the IRTA at the time, and he called me up and he said, "I have a job for you." And I said, "Well, what is that, Bob?" And Bob said, "I need a regional director." Little did he tell me I'd spend 6 years as the regional director. And when that finished, I became the treasurer when our other treasurer decided it was time to hang it up. And fortunate enough, I have been here, this is 5 years, I have one more, which will be 6. And really, it's paying it forward that those teachers who joined after 2010, the passage of Tier 2, they need someone to help speak for them. And I see that as an important part of my job.
Well, thank you. And in fact, we're very happy that you came to the association and are doing a fine job as our treasurer.
Thank you, Bob.
At this time, I'd like to toss it over to Rainey Kaplan. What was your why for joining the association?
Well, last May, when I was getting ready to retire, there was never a doubt in my mind that I was going to join the IRTA. In fact, my husband, Bob, gifted me with a lifetime membership in both my state and local IRTA unit, so I was very excited there. One of the first emails I got was a Google form saying, "Hey, do you want to volunteer for something?" I'm a person who jumps into the deep end no matter what, organization I'm in. So I said, why not? I filled out the form. I found out that the IRTA was in desperate need of needing a vice president. And so I said, sure, why not? And so I became the vice president. Luckily, I have a lot of good mentors in Mike, Donnie, Bob, Roger, Bill, Levon. Everybody's willing to help me out with any questions I might have. So that's kind of took the fear out of doing that. I really do have a unique story. Not everybody becomes vice president in their first year of being in an organization. But I feel like everybody needs to join and help out somewhere. The organizations and associations can't thrive without volunteerism. Whether it's an hour of making phone calls, answering emails, writing emails, knocking on doors, helping to organize a function. I think that's just really important. So that's why I did it.
Well, thank you, and thank you for being in the deep end. At this time, I think I'm going to ask our president, Mr. Mike Schmidt, to tell us what his why is.
Yeah. maybe it's a character flaw. I know it isn't genetic, but all my life I've volunteered to help out with things. And when I retired, I didn't have a choice. My wife had just retired before I had. My mother had retired many years before. Both of them were members of the IRTA, and so I joined the IRTA. And it didn't take me long to realize that even though I belong to the Blackhawk unit, which is a pretty sizable unit up in Rock Island County, there's still a lot of opportunities to help out. And I started off on the membership committee, and then I became the membership committee chair, and then vice president and president. And when my presidency of the unit ended, a 2-year term, I said to Bob Pinkerton, do you have any positions available where I can help out at the state level? And he immediately appointed me to the Constitution Committee, and then shortly after that, I became chair of the membership committee. And as I said, maybe it's a character flaw, but I just believe in volunteering and helping out. And as a history teacher, a former history teacher, one of my favorite quotes is from John Adams. And Adams said, there are only 2 creatures of value on the face of the earth, those with commitment and those who require the commitment of others. And I prefer to be in the former, after my presidency is over, I'm sure I'll find something to volunteer to help out with yet. So that's where I was.
And of course, now what we'd like to offer you is a chance for you to commit to the organization as a volunteer to assist us in getting this association to even better spot than it is today. So thank you for sharing your personal stories and also saying yes when you were called upon to join me today for this little sharing of what your whys were. And now I think I'm going to turn it over to that man, the myth, the legend, Larry Newman over at AMBA.
Well, Larry will remain a myth at this point. You have me, Gary DeVito, to talk about the AMBA benefits and what have you. Larry is actually headed to a AMBA business meeting as we speak, and he sends his apologies for not being here, and more importantly, and even beyond that, he sends his apologies for you having to put up with me today. So at any rate, for those of you that have been around a few years, you might remember me. I've actually moved into a new role with AMBA. So I'm here again in Larry's stead to just give you an update on AMBA. And I'll just provide a reminder first off that, AMBA's #1 mission is to help you as an association gain new members. We do that in a number of different ways, and I'm going to attempt to share my screen here in a little bit and just show you some of those things. But again, just as a reminder, AMBA's been around for 43 years and started with the Texas Retired Teachers and has grown, and we're now in every state. So what's good about that is we serve a lot of folks across the country, a lot of retired teachers, and we're able to bring forth the best benefits at the best rates to help fill gaps that you have with coverages and things like that. And again, our #1 objective is to help you grow the membership in the association. So, and again, I'm going to attempt to share my screen, see if this will work. And there we go. Hopefully this is showing. So again, how do we strengthen associations? First and foremost, again, you'll see right here, by attracting and retaining members. That was an attempt to circle that. I'm not very good at art either, so bear with me. But that again is that's what we want to help you with. The AMBA has really grown quite a bit. We're doing a lot more strategy-based marketing, helping with technology and data management. as well. And this here is real key: member engagement, acquisition, and retention. So as many of you are probably aware, AMBA has monthly webinars along with you on different topics on that, and that is a way to engage the members on a regular basis and provide them with further information. These are educational topics that could be Medicare related, might be related simply to the discount programs that you have access to as association members. We believe that's certainly an important and key aspect. A lot of those discounts are for travel. If you haven't checked into these, you absolutely should check, because there's a lot of tremendous discounts where we're seeing retirees are saving 40, 50, and even 60% on some of their travel related items that they're taking advantage of. Of course, there's the supplementary benefits, dental, vision, long-term care, the ambulance benefits, and things like that. And I've already touched on this, the discount programs and savings that you have access to. All of these are tremendous benefits. And again, because we are now nationwide, we're able to really get some tremendous programs and save you a whole lot of money. With that, so we also can speak at your local unit meetings. That's a real key aspect to what we do. And with that, I'm going to bring up a different, I'm going to stop sharing 1 second to make sure that the next thing I share is up on the screen. So bear with me 1 quick second. That's not what I wanted to share. You know what? Let me just continue to chat here for a second. So again, I have moved into a new role. For those of you that that know me, I was one of the field market leaders or district managers over the last couple of years. I'm in a new role, and I wanted to introduce virtually, at least, the person that has taken my position. And with that, I'm going to bring this screen up. Her name is Jenny Deal. She, as you can see, is much prettier than me, but she is the new field market leader for your area. And I'll bring up a map here to show you exactly what that means. I'll leave this up for a few seconds. You'll see her contact information, her email address, as well as her phone number. You can also simply click on this QR code with your smartphone, and that will bring up her information where you could schedule a time to have her come and meet at a local unit meeting. There's a number of different topics that we can provide at those local unit meetings. Simply an introduction to all of the benefits you'll see here. The Passport program, which is all the discounts, emergency transportation, and that would be MASA, for those of you that are familiar with that, Medical Air Services Association. And of course, you'll see here that there would be the home and elder care, so care at home as well as in facilities, what the impact of a critical illness can have on you and your family. And then this one, 4 major gaps for seniors, and then final expenses. So there's a number of different topics. There's actually a few more than this too. But what I want to point out here, this is at the bottom here is a program that we've been doing for a few years. It's a lunch and learn seminar where, again, this would be live and in person. We would be with you, where we can actually mail out to folks that might not be members. We can mail out to them an invitation to come and learn about what the association does for them. Again, any of the topics that we just talked about up above, emergency transportation included. Again, AMBA will pay to mail these invitations to these folks who, again, are not members at this time. This is a tremendous way to attract new members to your local unit, as well as the state association. So we encourage you to take advantage of that. again, Jenny and the team would be available to do that. And again, you'll see her contact information right here. If I haven't given you enough time to take down her information, feel free to reach out to us and we'll make sure that you get connected with her. She's absolutely awesome and has a lot of experience in this marketplace. And I'm going to bring up a map next that shows you specifically her area that she covers. If there's anybody that is not from Area 6 on this meeting, this map will show you where the different managers cover. And again, you'll see in red right up here, excuse me, you'll see that Nancy Kramer, her territory is in purple and Jenny's is in red. And again, you'll see that Area 6 is pretty much covered by Jenny Deal. So if you're in a different area, it's either going to be Jenny Deal or Nancy Kramer that can help you with the unit meetings. But there are a number of new benefits that have been introduced, some new features and things like that. So we encourage all of you to take a look at these benefits. Most importantly, again, we encourage you to have us at your local unit meetings, speak at least once or twice a year. We do have a number of folks across the country that they're going to almost every one of the unit meetings throughout the year just to be there. They may talk for 5 or 10 minutes. Most of the time, you know, when we're speaking, it would be 15 to 20 minutes. But again, take advantage of the opportunity to be able to have invitations sent out to folks that are not members, bring them in to be a member of your local unit as well as the state association. So we are here to help. We are a resource for you. If you have other ideas or thoughts on how we can help with this, we are all ears. We are here again to help you grow your membership and retain your membership. So please let us know what thoughts and ideas. We believe that the best creative ideas come from all of you. So please do let us know that. So again, I'm happy to be here, and I wish I could see all of your faces that we've seen in the past, but I'm happy to be here. The IRTA is near and dear to my heart. I wouldn't be here without the IRTA. So thank you for allowing me to speak and present here. And what I'd like to do now is to introduce Liz Vogt, who has some further information for you. Thanks again, and have a great day.
Hello, my name is Liz Vogt, Senior Policy Advisor at the Illinois Department on Aging. The Illinois Department on Aging is a state agency, and our mission is to serve and advocate for older Illinoisans and their caregivers by administering quality and culturally appropriate programs that promote partnerships and encourage independence, dignity, and quality of life. One of the best ways to get in touch with the Illinois Department on Aging is through our senior helpline. The number is 1-800-252-8966. On Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., our staff will be able to answer your phone calls and your questions. You can also reach us by email if it's after 5 or before 8 a.m. Another way to learn about IDOA programs and services is through our website. You can find us at ilaging.illinois.gov. When you visit our Illinois Department on Aging website, you'll notice a service locator. Because our aging network services are broken down by regional areas in the state, we have a handy map on our website that allows you to search for programs and services delivered by our aging network partners that are provided in your neighborhood. The Illinois Department on Aging and our aging network partners come together to deliver a variety of programs and services in all areas of the state of Illinois. Some of the programs and services that we're going to talk about today are listed here on the slide and include services and programs delivered by our AAAs, or our area agencies on aging, our community care program, our adult protective services program, our ombudsman programs, our benefit access program, and the Senior Health Insurance Program, or SHIP for short. So we're going to start off by learning about our AAAs, or our Area Agencies on Aging. There are 13 area agencies on aging throughout the state of Illinois, and each area agency on aging represents a geographic area in the state. So they're responsible for planning and coordinating programs for the older adults in their geographic area. AAAs will serve all older adults age 60 and over, but their primary focus is on those older adults who have the greatest economic or greatest social need. AAAs in and of themselves are typically not direct service providers. They have contracts throughout their communities with community service providers who deliver those services to our older adults throughout the community. So some of the programs and services that a AAA may offer through a funded partner include things like nutrition services. So we know some older adults are not able to cook for themselves anymore, or may not have a family member or a friend close by. And our AAAs really step in to meet those nutritional gaps. They do this through home delivered meals. So a local provider will deliver a hot, nutritious, balanced meal to the door of an older adult. Depending on the older adult's schedule, it can be every day, Monday through Friday, or those select days that they're in need of that meal. Our AAAs also offer congregate dining opportunities. This isn't just a place where older adults come together to have a meal, but also they have the ability to socialize with each other and to engage in activities and come together as a community for opportunities that really combat loneliness and social isolation, in addition to the nutritious meal that they're served. We also, through our AAAs, provide counseling or nutritional counseling to help educate older adults on what types of food are fuel for their bodies, what types of foods they should be eating based on nutritional, medical conditions, and the older adults have the ability to work with our dietitians to develop those meal plans and that education. Other programs include respite. So respite is traditionally a service for a caregiver. If a caregiver, a primary family member, a caregiver is taking care of an older adult family member, but maybe they need to run a few errands, or maybe they're having a doctor's appointment or a surgery or an unexpected health event. Respite provides services to relieve the caregiver. Transportation is offered through our AAAs as well. This includes transportation that an older adult may arrange with a provider to take them to doctor's appointments or to run errands or those types of things. We also have senior centers through our AAAs, and senior centers are a place where older adults gather in a community for activities and socialization. AAAs also offer evidence-based health programming for exercise programs, activity programs, stress-busting programs, and really importantly, loop in our caregivers as well. So we know that caregivers often have a lot of responsibility on their plates, and so our AAAs have services and supports directly designed for our caregivers to help them ensure that they're in a healthy shape, both mentally and physically, and are able to keep on with their caregiving duties. Lastly, another area, legal assistance. If an older adult or their family needs assistance obtaining legal documentation or with powers of attorney or those sorts of things, the AAAs are the place to contact to be referred to a legal assistance provider. On our website, you'll see this map as well. We at the Department on Aging break our state down into geographic regions that are called planning and service areas, or PSAs for short. So the main thing that you need to know is you find your community located in the state of Illinois, and you'll know, for instance, I live in Menard County, so we're in PSA 7. and I can find all of the information about the providers and programs that are available to me in PSA 7 through the link and the map on our website. The next program we're going to talk about that is delivered through the Illinois Department on Aging is the Community Care Program. The Community Care Program is a Medicaid waiver program that is designed to give older adults the ability and independence to stay at home and age in place versus entering a nursing facility for care. The eligibility criteria for this program includes being age 60 or above, having an assessed need for long-term care. There's an assessment that is performed by our care coordinators called the determination of need. And that care coordinator, based on that assessment, can determine if your functional level is such that you would qualify for long-term care services. You also have to be a resident of the state of Illinois. You have to be a U.S. citizen or fall into an eligible immigration status. You have to have non-exempt assets that are less than $17,500. So this is separate and apart from a primary home, a car, those sorts of assets. And you also have to apply for, and if eligible, enroll in the Medicaid program. So those are the eligibility criteria, but what does the program actually offer you? There are 4 services that fall under our community care program. In-home service. So this is a home care aide who comes to your home on a routine basis and helps you with activities of daily living. This could include things like bathing or dressing, grooming. It could include meal preparation and taking you to doctor's appointments and some of your laundry and light housework. There's also adult day service. So just as we talked about our senior centers under our AAA funded programs, our community care program, or CCP for short, offers adult day service. And again, this is where older adults come together at a location within their community for activities and socialization. And this can also be considered a form of respite. So if a primary family caregiver must go to work during the day and they're concerned that their older adult loved one is home all by themselves, adult day service may be a great option for that older adult, that they can go to their adult day center, they can have nutritious meals, they can socialize and do activities, and also have the ability to get their medications that they may need throughout the day. The last 2 service areas are emergency home response service. So think about the button that you can press either on a pendant or on your wrist that may alert someone if you have fallen, if you've had an emergency and you can't get to your phone, and you need help, you need assistance. The last service area is called automatic medication dispenser service, and this is a tool that's used to help with medication adherence so that older adults remember to take their medications on time and in the right dose. You can access our community care program and all of these services through a care coordination unit. And there are care coordination units located throughout the state of Illinois in your geographic area, and you can find your respective care coordination unit through the link on the screen. Our next program area is adult protective services. Now, you all as teachers may be very familiar with the reporting requirements for children who may be abused or neglected and what that means and who to call and when to call. This Illinois Department on Aging operates a similar program for our older adults and adults with disabilities through our Adult Protective Services program. This program is locally coordinated through 36 provider agencies. And once a complaint is made, a caseworker will investigate the allegation, will coordinate with local service delivery options to mitigate risk and ensure that that older adult is safe and that they are taken care of. So if you have an individual who you're concerned, maybe a neighbor, a family member, a friend, where something is just not right with the situation. If you suspect that there's abuse, neglect, exploitation, or even self-neglect, you can call our Adult Protective Services hotline at 1-866-800-1409 to make a report and to get a case worker there to intervene and to determine what's going on and to really place supportive resources around that older adult. Our next program area are ombudsman programs. So this is a strange term. Not many people are familiar with the term ombudsman, but we have two programs. And an ombudsman, really, if you think about it, it's an advocate for, in the case of our long-term care ombudsman, an advocate for an older adult who lives in a nursing facility or other long-term care facility setting. So an ombudsman can either respond to complaints or to concerns by the resident, him or herself, or a family member who's concerned about a resident. They will go into the nursing facility and talk to that resident and understand what's going on and how that resident, him or herself, wants the situation resolved. So the ombudsman acts as an extension of the resident to help that resident advocate for themselves, to address concerns, and to put into place a solution that meets the resident's expectations. If you have any older adults in your life who reside in a long-term care facility setting and you're concerned about their care, you can always call our long-term care ombudsman program at 1-800-252-8966 or by emailing them at the email address on the screen. Our next ombudsman program is called our home care ombudsman. And so just like our long-term care ombudsman really focuses on residents of facilities in Illinois, our home care ombudsman really advocates for older adults and adults with disabilities who live at home in the community. In order to be eligible and to have a home care ombudsman act on your behalf, you have to live in the community, you have to be enrolled in one of the MMAI or Medicare-Medicaid Alignment Initiative plans, and you have to be participating in one of the waiver programs on the screen. And if this is the case, a home care ombudsman can intervene on your behalf. They can, again, address concerns, advocate for you to ensure that the services and programs that you need are put into place and can address any other outstanding problems that you're experiencing with your services. You can reach the home care ombudsman again at the 1-800 number or by email at the email address on the screen. Our Benefit Access Program, or BAA for short, the name doesn't really give it as much credit as it's due. It is a program designed to give older adults and adults with disabilities discounts or free passes for fixed rate transit systems in Illinois, as well as discounts on license plates for vehicles in Illinois. The Illinois Department on Aging, we administer the application process for this program, and if you're interested, you can apply on our website. You'll also see on our screen some of the eligibility criteria. This is a program for lower income older adults and adults with disabilities, so there are income requirements and age requirements as well. But if this is something that you or one of your loved ones may be interested in, I would encourage you to complete an application on our website. And last but certainly not least, we offer the Senior Health Insurance Program, or SHIP for short. SHIP is an excellent program and really helps older adults and their family members navigate the complex world of health insurance coverage as an older adult. So not just Medicare coverage, but questions about supplements or long-term care insurance, or how one program or policy interacts with another policy or plan. These SHIP counselors, as they're called, are independent. They're there to provide you with factual and up-to-date information and really help you navigate and make the best choice in health coverage for your specific situation. I can't stress it enough. My parents turned Medicare eligible within the last couple of years and found such benefit in having that independent, third-party, really trusted source of information to consult with, to kind of walk you through, does it make sense to sign up for a Medicare Advantage plan, or do I want to stick with regular Medicare, or do I need a supplement or a long-term care plan, or all of those things when we think about planning for the future. So this is a really valuable program. You can speak to someone over the phone, or there are SHIP counselors located throughout the state that can meet with you in person, face to face. You can reach out either by email or at the 1-800 number on the screen to be connected to our SHIP program. And with that, I just wanted to mention that, this is a snapshot of some of our most popular programs and services. I would encourage you to visit our website or to give our senior helpline a call if you have any questions or, have requests for more information. Our team will be happy to talk with you and make referrals to programs in your local area or provide you with that information that you're looking for. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate your time so much and look forward to serving you at the Illinois Department on Aging.
Thank you so much for attending today's Area 6 virtual conference. I hope that you found the information presented valuable. Thank you for attending today's Area 6 virtual conference. I hope that you found the information presented valuable and something that you can use and share with others in your group. Now I encourage you to connect, socialize, and ask questions in the breakout rooms. They are now available, and this is a perfect time to reconnect and share your conference experiences with your colleagues. And thank you for attending today. To enter a breakout room, you need to click on the breakout room in your meeting controls, and that will display the list, and then you can click expand all to see what participants are in the room, and hover your mouse on the number you want to join, click join, and hope to see you sometime in the future. Have a good day.